Hello, what's up, y'all? We're in the car with it per usual. You know what I was thinking about? You know, we help a lot of people. I'm sure you would probably categorize yourself as someone who's very helpful, and which is a great thing. But I was looking at this story, and this particular celebrity, and I've actually heard other celebrities say it, but I was looking at this story, and this particular celebrity was talking about how one of the hardest things, the most challenging things that he deals with, he and his wife, she's pretty famous too. They were talking about the balance of who they are in terms of them being famous. People, know them to have a substantiated, let's not even use that word because I don't even think that's the right word I want to use right there, but a healthy amount of money, right? People, their family members, their friends see them as wealthy. And they were talking about how they really try to manage and balance those relationships. And they were going on about a few other things, and it kind of had me thinking. And the way that they were talking, it's not really what they were saying, but it was in the manner in which they were discussing it. And of course, I don't know these people, so this is just my perception. But kind of the vibe that I was getting from it, it was like no bitterness, no saltiness, no nothing. It's almost like they have became at peace with who they are, the role that they may or may not play in certain people's lives, and now they've found power in how to manage it. So for an example, they were saying how they've helped a lot of people in the past. That used to be one of the things that was very difficult. That actually used to be something that used to be a challenge in their marriage, because sometimes they would not agree together. Maybe the wife may feel this person needed help, but the husband was kind of like no, and she was like, there was times where he would want to help a certain person, and I would say, no, because of XYZ. And they were talking about how for a while it kind of made them, feel as though people would use them, take advantage. And so, that would kind of be more of their thought process to one another. Like, no, we don't want to help this individual yet again because we've helped them. We've given them advice. We've been there for them financially, mentally, emotionally. We've allowed them to stay with us, but they don't return the favor. They're not as appreciative. And, I could kind of tell just from my perception again that how they were talking about it, the highlight was more so how they began to find a balance and peace with some of their decisions and choices. And it kind of made me think, and I said, man, that happens to a lot of us. I know that I've experienced that, and I'm sure you all have as well. And we sometimes get in these positions very, very often where we will help people and support people when their family isn't there, when their parents may not know what's going on, when their friends don't know what's going on. I've helped and supported a lot of people in their darkest hour through some major things. And sometimes people grow older or whatever the case may be, and then I begin to kind of realize, like, I kind of would feel at times, and this is the past, I don't feel like this now, but I kind of would feel at times that their appreciation level wasn't there. They would only kind of come around when they need you, which on one hand, there's not anything necessarily wrong with that. You don't have to talk to people every day. You don't have to talk to your friends every day, your family every day, all day, every day, to still have a healthy relationship. So I'm not saying that, but I could remember there was a time where I kind of felt like, well, when I needed something, where are they? When I am bringing something up, and then I kind of found at times that, and again, this is my perception, right? I would kind of find at times that the people that I helped the most, low-key used to, they would do stuff to hate. They wouldn't really be supportive. And when they were talking, I could really resonate with what they were saying, because It is such a powerful thing when you begin to recognize and become at peace with who you are and how to manage who you are and what you have to offer people. Is that making sense? And so that's what stuck out to me. They were like, now after being burned, after being mishandled, right? Because they like, here we are helping people, and then they got the nerve to be mad at us because we may not want to help them right now, or we may say, okay, well, you got to give me a little bit more information. We can't just jump up and say yes. You know, not everybody want to get mad. They wanted to count our pockets. Oh, well, y'all got this money. Y'all selfish. Y'all acting different. Y'all da-da-da. And, you know, the part that stood out to me is they were like, you know, we begin to realize who we were and what we had to offer, which I thought that was a great statement, because they didn't say we began to realize who we were and we started to look at what can people do for us. They said we had to learn how to balance what we had to offer. And I was like, I resonated with that, because I was like, oh my goodness, I understand completely what they mean. And there's a level of maturity that comes with that, because sometimes, and most times, people will start to feel some type of way when you begin to realize who you were. See, as long as they can have access to you and, you know, do this, do that, say this, say that, as long as you are not prospering, as long as you kind of seem like, you know, you're not reaching your potential, you know, it's almost like they'll tell you, oh, you got all this potential, you could be doing this. But then once you start to live up to that or go into your hopes and dreams, like they got a problem with it. I mean, I could give examples for days, but I think you guys can understand without me giving 1,001 examples. You know what I'm saying. If you know, you know. And so I was like, you know what? That is so significant. And I probably have shared this before, but one thing, you have to not only understand the power and the value, you don't have to you have to do more than just understand the power behind the value of knowing who you are. But then you have to take it a step further and knowing how to manage who you are, when to give out your energy, when to preserve yourself. The Bible even talks about guarding your heart, when to guard your heart, when to open up yourself, when to verbalize things, when to not verbalize things. You know, those things are so important. And, you know, I always give a lot of examples when it comes to how the world views things, how businesses are ran, how Fortune 500 companies, small businesses, it doesn't matter. If they give you too much of the product, you're not really going to value it. If they give too much away, you're not going to really value it. You're not going to take care of it like they're supposed to. So sometimes people get upset. Well, these prices are so high, then it's not for you. They are putting their price tag based on the consumer who they're trying to reach. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. There's other options. But you cannot necessarily get mad at a company because they understand who they are. And watch this. Just because a company is not there today, companies look to scale themselves based on the future. They don't just look at where's my business going. They have to look at where is the economy now? Where's the economy going? What is the impact social media has on businesses, on products? How can we scale that for the future? What is our population in the area that we're in? What is the population? What is the culture? What is the age? Who shops with us? Who looks at our products? That's why analytics can be so valuable, because it helps you understand who's drawn to you, who are you marketing to. And it's easy for us to see businesses do it. You know, businesses have slogans and tags and color schemes. All of that scales and puts them in a category of who they're trying to draw, what area that they're in, who is their audience. All of that is so important. But sometimes we don't know how to apply those same realistic, doable methods that help businesses grow, that help see where they went wrong, because they could use those same tactics and say, oh no, we tried to put this out and the public didn't respond. The people who support us, they didn't like it. Let's make the change. We have to sometimes take some of those concepts, if you will, and apply it to our lives. I'm not saying treat yourself as an object or treat yourself as a product, but do you understand what I'm saying behind the thought process? You have to know, who is your audience? Who are you trying to draw? Who are you trying to build relationship with? Who are you trying to invest in? Who do you want to invest in you? What type of advice are you getting? And what type of advice are you receiving? Giving, and what type of advice are you receiving? And so, no, don't handle yourself like an object or like a product or like a business. But those concepts, if you break it down and you ask yourself, why do companies Why do companies have all of these measures in place? Why are they so driven about analytics and about numbers and about formulas, right? Coding. Those things are so important because it's bigger than just going with your emotion. You have to be practical in life, right? You have to sometimes be a little bit gray. You have to sometimes be emotional, but you have to make sure you have a balance, because if not, you'll find yourself in relation to thinking about relationships, you'll find yourself being injured, being bruised, being upset, having issues, carrying on alts and faults and difficulties in your future because you don't know how to scale yourself. You don't know how to balance yourself. You don't know how to recognize, okay, I was just having a conversation with somebody and we were talking about something. I said, you know what's so funny? People can have a whole issue with you and they could create this narrative in their mind that is not even true. They got a whole issue with you and you just like, what? I didn't even know that this was a thing. Like, I didn't even know. And so what happens is sometimes because of our pride and our flesh and our emotions, you know, we may jump off the deep end and look too much into it. Or you may kind of be like, I want to say this because how dare they do that? Then when you start to realize, wait a minute, but I know who I am. What do Pepsi look like arguing with Coke? Yeah, they do certain commercials and different things like that, but Pepsi knows exactly who they are. They know their product. They believe in their product. They stand by their brand. So why am I going to get into this all-out tizzy with Coke? The only reason why I may get into what appears to be like a tizzy is because guess what? I'm trying to draw the audience in, not because I really am concerned about Coke like that, right? So it's almost like you have to use things to a healthy advantage where if people feel some type of way, if people don't want to be there for you, you have to sit back and think like, actually, it doesn't really matter. Because I know who I am. I know who I am. I know what I bring to this world. I know the value that I bring to this earth. I know the impact that I have made. Even in my wrong, even in me not being my best self all the time, my heart says I still strive for better. I still strive for more. I still strive for greatness. You know, that has to be something where you can admit that even in my faults, I know who I am. Even when I'm not getting it right, I know who I am. God still stamps me. He still approves me. He still stands by me. He still calls me. He still allows me room and grace and mercy to be able to get it right so that I can do better. You know, that's powerful. See, the world sometimes and the enemy wants to make you feel terrible because you've made a mistake, or you were too emotional, or you weren't so practical, or you didn't do the right thing with your money. Hear me. I'm not saying you just go through life and you just be doing whatever you want. No, we're not talking about that. And if this is what you get from that video, then I can't help you. But there is a power in knowing, hey, I've messed up, but I'm willing to make it right. I said the wrong thing, but I'm willing to correct myself. I didn't do what's right, but I'm willing to be accountable. Even with my son, sometimes when I make a mistake or I assumed he felt a certain type of way or said something, when he articulates to me that, Mom, that wasn't the case, I know the value that I hold as his mother and as a human being. I don't just show him things have to be right. I show him, hey, when you stumble, this is what it looks like to get up. When you fall, this is what it looks like to you got a bruise. This is how you take care of that bruise. This is how you make it work. This is how you restore. This is how you apologize. This is how you forgive. Because I don't want him to feel that this thing called life is perfect. And so going back to my original point, we all, either you've experienced it in the past, you're experiencing it now, or you're going to experience it in the future where, pardon me, you kind of recognize, man, it's a couple people that I've helped, that I've been there for, and I feel like you may have you've been low key hating, you know, whether they deliberately hating, whether they don't know that they hating, whether they don't support you. You can't be mad at that kind of stuff. You have to now find a balance, because as you grow, your life should show and demonstrate growth. And you can tell by a person's actions, by a person's words, how they may treat you. It says more about them than it does you. And when you begin to see those things, then you begin to realize my ego don't have to be bruised. My pride don't have to be bruised. You telling on yourself. You making yourself look like XYZ. So why would I lose sleep over a person who's showing me this side of their character? Watch this. I'm not mad at you. I'm not hating. I'm not angry. I don't have a reason to call you, text you, go off on you, or point nothing out to you. I just got to leave you be. because I know who I am. And when you learn how to balance what you have to offer, what should begin to happen is it should now begin to minimize and lessen some things that you deal with, some things that you go through. And even if you still go through it, what used to hold you for weeks and months won't hold you that long. You'll be able to just dust yourself off and be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. I get it. You ain't even worth me saying da 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 da. Now, this is not the particular video where I'm mentioning that obviously if a person is worth it, you have to be able to strengthen your gift of discernment, and then you go and you make it worth it. You put in that work. But we're not talking about this in this particular video. We're talking about when you know you've been there for people, you've been solid, you know, you ain't been perfect, you've made mistakes, but you've owned up to it, and yet people still feel some type of way. You just look at those people and you be like, see, the old me want me to tell you about yourself. But then I had to come back to myself. Wait a minute. I know who I am. What do I look like going back and forth with you? What do I look like even investing my energy and my time and my peace and my space with the dialogue with you? You can call it cocky. You can call it whatever you want. I call it, I know who I am. And now I've learned how to scale myself. What do I feel like giving energy today? Who do I feel like investing in today? Who do I feel like allowing for them to invest into me so that they can also get a return? When you begin to look at that, you don't be tripping about the people you used to help and now they feel some type of way. You don't trip about, I thought I heard something. You don't trip about, why is it that you spent a lot of time helping this person, but this person is never in a position to help you? Why are you mad because they're not in a position to help you? They're not in a position to support you, support your business, support your product. Listen to when you're going through difficult times. How when you always helping them? Why be upset with them? You find your audience, your person. You find where to put your energy, because why put it into something and it's just going to suck you dry and bleed your battery and leave you in the red and leave you in the negative? That's why we have to start getting mature about how we spend our time, the conversations that we're having, the things that we're doing. Where are we putting our efforts and our energy? How are we applying our knowledge? How are we learning from our mistakes? Are we just going through the mistakes and not learning and not challenging ourselves to apply the lesson the next time? I don't be mad at people that I know I've been more there for you than you've been there for me. Why am I going to be mad that you're not there for me? You can't help me. I'm the ego. I'm the mature one. I'm the balanced one. I'm the more logical one. I'm the more I'm the more humble one, and I'm just using these different terms as an example. And again, this video is not a boast or a brag. This is for you to begin to understand who you are. You know why we get taken advantage of? Because we don't value ourselves. We don't value our time. We don't value our heart. We don't value our emotions. We have low self-esteem. We have pride. We have ego. You know, we've been bruised. We've been battered. We've been torn down. Nobody's lifted us up, and we just going through the motions of life, continuing to allow people to take and suck you dry just to keep you in that repetitive cycle. But when you pull yourself out of that cycle and you begin to see with a different level of understanding, your heart begins to be positioned differently. Now you can sit and say, I'm not mad at you that I tried to do this and this and that. I'm not mad at you that you don't see it my way. I'm not mad at you that you're not willing to understand. I'm not mad at you that you can't do nothing for me. I'm not mad at you that you can't invest in my business, that you're not willing to buy my book, that you don't buy my merch, that you don't tell me congratulations, that you don't check on me and see how I'm doing. Why would I be upset by that? And I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, man, I have been on this serious journey and I have realized there is no better place to be than just with you and God. And some people struggle with the level of loneliness, but when you realize you are in the hands of God, it's not that you devalue relationships, but the Bible says put no trust in no man. And you realize why. Because man will fail you. Man meaning man and woman. So when you realize, oh, I can't, like I even tell my son, don't put your hope in me. I'm just your mother. Now I'm going to do the best that I can. And I'm going to be there the best that I can. But I need you to know, I promise y'all I tell him this. I need you to know that it's going to be times where I'm going to fail you, disappoint you, say the wrong thing, not support you when you felt you needed to be supported, not help you when you feel you need to be helped. I'm not telling him that because I'm trying to set him up for disappointment, because I always tell him at the end of the day, son, it is you and God. I'm telling him that so he can understand. Don't put the title of me as your mother as your God. Now, when he was younger, that is different. I was everything to him. Fair. Now that he's becoming of age where he can start to understand disappointment, where his little emotions can feel like, I don't feel you paying attention to me. I don't feel like you told me you was proud of me. I have to be able to talk him through some things of saying, hey, humans is flawed. And if you are hanging your hat only on the hook of, if my mama don't say it, then what? If my daddy don't say it, then what? If my friend don't say it, then what? If my spouse don't say it, then what? If my teacher don't say it, what if they never say it? And I had talked to him the other day, and I said, son, because he was telling me about something that he was dealing with. And I said, you remember when you was younger, what did I used to always say to you? I used to always tell you I was proud of you, but I used to always say, but are you proud of you? I always tell you, I tell him that till this day. I always tell him how handsome he is, but I ask him, how do you know you handsome? Because I don't want him to hang his hat on my words, because I do not want to structure his life based on just solely me. Because in the times that I cannot be there, and I told him, even if I'm not intentionally trying to disappoint you, what if I pass away? I'm not going to be there to tell you good job. I'm not going to be there to lift your spirits up. It's just you and God, baby boy. And sometimes when you may feel like God ain't there, it's going to be you and you. Where you got to keep on encouraging yourself and say, God, now, you ain't said nothing yet, but I know you're going to speak when it's time. I just got to posture myself to be sensitive to hear. So I teach my son that. And I teach him that about me. Because I don't want him to get caught up in this thing where my life is only structured and I'm only who I am based on the words and the affirmation and the love of humans and the support of humans, of my inner circle, of the people that are closest to me. Because what I want him to know is, newsflash, baby boy, they not gonna be there. When you think they're supposed to be there, it's probably when they not. And in their mind, they may have thought that they were there, but you're going to have to deal with the emotions when you feel like they wasn't. They can tell you 1,001 times, oh, I thought I was there for you. But as long as your emotions keep rehearsing, no, you wasn't, that's what the devil's going to try to keep magnifying in your ear. And he's going to try to let that thing settle in your heart. So when you do stuff for people, yeah, you might want to return. Yeah, you might expect certain things, but you got to know the players of the game. You have to know the characters in the book. What are you working with? Who are you working with? Where are they at? Where are you at? So therefore, you can learn to minimize and balance disappointment, ill will, ill intentions, whether it's purposely done or not purposely done, so that you're not just your blood and who you are and your willpower and your self-esteem and your self-worth is not rooted in a person, a mother, a father, a boyfriend, a fiance, a sister, an uncle, a nephew. It should not just be rooted in that. That's why we take blows, because we don't know how to create that balance of, but what if they don't? Can I still be whole? And I'm not minimizing. Of course, we all deserve support. Of course, we all want everything we want across the board. But you have to understand, when you are dealing with the flesh of humans and a flawed species, you're not going to get it the way you always think. And that's when the devil try to creep in. He don't try to creep in when y'all bonding, when y'all seeing eye to eye, when you and the bestie is kikiing. He gonna try to hit you while you down when you need the bestie and she busy because she got a boo, or because she got a different job and now she's so focused, or because maybe y'all fell out, or when you need your mama and your mama busy, or your mama don't know what to say because she dealing with her own issues. That's where the devil gonna get you. That's where he gonna get you. That's where those words is going to become loud. Well, why they ain't there for me? Well, man, I'm tired of this. I ain't trusting people no more. I ain't giving to people no more. Now you in this uphill battle when God is saying, wait a minute. Be at peace with knowing who you are. Learn how much of yourself to give. Ask me who you should be talking to, who you should address, who you should ignore, who you should love on. And that doesn't mean you don't love people. But see, when you understand why businesses do things the way that they do, why they have so many different measures in place, because they are putting so many things in place because their goal is the success of the business. Watch this. Not so that the business never goes in red, because even when the business goes in red, it's profitable to the business. Because now you can learn from, why do we have a low month? Why do we have a slow month? Why did we have a delay? Why didn't this product sell? Okay, well, this product didn't sell. Well, maybe let's market it a different way and drop the price down. And now you can learn from that. So do you understand what I'm saying? I love y'all. We'll talk soon.